There comes a moment when the noise of politics, the glare of power, and the illusions of control begin to fade. And in that silence, we are forced to ask, what do we truly believe? What do we stand for? The world around us is obsessed with appearances, fame, wealth, and influence, but none of these things can hide from the gaze of truth. Public scrutiny, my friends, is a force that cannot be ignored. Every leader, every empire, every name that rises to the heights of glory must eventually face it. And in that light, let me tell you what I believe. My daughter once asked me if I believed in Jesus, and I told her I do not just believe in him, I know him. Not as a statue in a cathedral, not as a story in a dusty book, but as a living presence that moves among the poor, the forgotten, the broken, and the oppressed. I see him in the child who receives a meal after days of hunger. I see him in the mother who clings to hope even after loss. I see him in the soul who dares to speak truth, even when it costs them everything. Yet too often, his name is worn like an ornament, a badge of power, a shield for hypocrisy. Some claim his words, but not his spirit. They build monuments in his honor while ignoring the cries of the people outside their gates. But the truth is simple. If Jesus walked among us today, he would not be found in parliaments or palaces. He would not sit in gilded chairs beside kings and rulers. He would be in the streets, with the homeless, the rejected, the wounded. He would walk beside Africa. He would walk beside you. I do not follow him to earn applause or approval. I follow him because he was the greatest revolutionary of love and justice the world has ever seen. He broke unjust rules to heal the broken. He flipped tables in the temple when faith was turned into profit. He stood before emperors and religious leaders and spoke truth without fear. And when his enemies nailed him to a cross, he forgave them. That is why his name still burns like fire in the hearts of the humble. Jesus is not a weapon to divide us. He is a bridge to unite us. He does not belong to one nation, one race, one church, or one tribe. He belongs to every open heart that dares to love, dares to forgive, dares to live in truth. He was not white. He was not rich. He was not powerful by the world's measure. And yet, with nothing but love and courage, he changed history. That is what frightens the powerful most, that truth could be louder than lies, that humility could defeat arrogance, that love could overcome fear, that a man with no sword could conquer an empire. So yes, I believe in Jesus, but more importantly, I believe in living like him. That means feeding the hungry, defending the weak, protecting the poor, standing for justice, and choosing peace when war is easier. It means calling out hypocrisy, even when it wears the mask of religion. My daughter, if you want to follow him, do not just pray to him, walk like him, love like him, speak for the voiceless like him. Do not wait for a miracle, be the miracle. Because he is not found only in the heavens. He lives wherever someone dares to love boldly, forgive freely, and stand for what is right. And when I said these words, the silence grew heavy, not with confusion, but with reflection. Slowly, applause rose, not because I had spoken with drama, but because I had spoken with truth. The truth that Jesus does not live in golden temples or halls of power. He lives among the poor, the broken, the forgotten. He lives in Africa. He lives in us. Too many have tried to turn him into a symbol of conquest and control, but he did not come to build empires. He came to break chains. And if you truly want to find him today, go to where the world has turned away. Go to the refugee camps, the hospitals, the schools where children walk miles for an education. Go to the villages and cities where people are told they do not matter. That is where he is. That is where his heart beats strongest. Faith without action is an empty shell. Real faith moves your hands, your heart, your feet. If you claim to follow him, then live like him, not with words alone, but with love in motion. This is not just belief. This is the foundation of a new world, and it begins with us.
The room falls quiet. But silence is not the end. It is the beginning. For when truth is spoken, it does not vanish into the air. It settles in the soul, like a seed waiting for the rain. I looked around at the faces before me. Leaders, soldiers, mothers, sons. Some carried pride, some carried fear, but all carried questions. And I asked them, what kind of world are we building? Do we build a world where the rich grow richer while children die of hunger? Do we build a world where rulers sit on thrones while the poor are trampled under their feet? Or do we build a world where justice lives not in books, but in the beating of every human heart? Africa has been robbed for centuries. Its gold, its diamonds, its oil, all stolen. Its people chained, shipped across seas, treated like animals. And even today, in this so-called modern age, the chains remain, only now they are hidden. They're called debt. They're called aid. They're called partnership. But make no mistake, they are chains. And who will break them? Not the ones who profit from them, not the ones who sit in palaces. It will be broken by the people who refuse to kneel, who refuse to sell their dignity for a bowl of soup. It will be broken by the youth who march in the streets, by the mothers who demand bread for their children, by the workers who say, enough. I told them, if Jesus walked into Africa today, he would not come as a guest of presidents. He would not dine at banquets under crystal chandeliers. He would walk into the refugee camps. He would sit with children who eat once a day. He would embrace the widow who has lost everything to war. He would stand at the side of the farmer who tills the soil yet cannot feed his own family. And he would ask us, where were you? Where were you when your neighbor was hungry? Where were you when your leaders stole the wealth of the land? Where were you when the voice of justice was silenced? Do not say you believe in him if your hands are closed when others are starving. Do not say you follow him if you turn your back on injustice. His path is not one of comfort. It is a path of sacrifice, of courage, of relentless love. Africa does not need more speeches. Africa needs truth. Africa needs leaders who wash the feet of the people, not leaders who demand to be worshipped like gods. Africa needs mothers and fathers who raise children not only with food, but with wisdom and courage. Africa needs youth who are unafraid to dream beyond borders, beyond chains, beyond fear. The truth is this: empires will fall, thrones will crumble, dictators will vanish, but the spirit of justice will never die. And I say this to you today: we are not too weak to rise. We are not too poor to fight for justice. We are not too broken to be healed. Within every African child, there is a fire greater than all the guns of tyrants. Within every woman, there is a strength greater than the weight of centuries. Within every man, there is a courage greater than fear itself. But we must choose. We must decide whether to remain slaves to corruption, to greed, to the false promises of the West, or to stand as free people, bound only by love, justice, and truth. I believe this is Africa's time. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. The world watches, waiting to see if Africa will rise as one voice, waiting to see if we will remain silent or if we will shout so loudly that even the heavens will tremble. And when that day comes, let it not be said that we waited for saviors from across the sea. Let it not be said that we begged for freedom. Let it be said that we stood, that we fought, that we believed. Because freedom is never given, it is taken. Justice is never handed down, it is demanded. And dignity is never a gift, it is claimed. So to the youth of Africa I say, you are the miracle this continent has been waiting for. You are the living proof that chains can be broken, that truth can rise, that love can triumph over fear. Do not wait for tomorrow. Do not wait for leaders. Be the voice, be the fire, be the revolution. And when history remembers this moment, let it not remember a generation that bowed in silence. Let it remember a generation that rose in thunder, a generation that walked in truth, that lived in love, that refused to kneel before oppression. For this is not just a speech, it is a prophecy. And the prophecy is this: Africa will rise, not by the will of tyrants, not by the power of guns, but by the courage of its people. And that, my brothers and sisters, is the destiny that no empire can erase.